Hello friends, this is Devra Singh. Wish you all be fine. The topic of today's discussion is the Earth and Atmospheric Science. In this lecture, we will try to learn about some fundamental facts related with our Earth and its atmosphere. So let us start the lecture. These two cartoon images are representing the message of Save Earth and the effect of ongoing COVID-19 pandemic respectively. The human beings on Earth have so blindly used the natural resources and the technology that the Earth, our green planet, is no more a good place to live. And we have started to look for a similar place beyond our Earth, which will be our next target to be destroyed. But it doesn't matter to us. Someone special will come and save the Earth. Probably that someone is this novel coronavirus. Because due to the implementation of the lockdown, the level of pollution is very low these days, and you can observe it through the clarity of the night sky these days. So let me not divert from the topic. Let us move towards our today's lecture. So we will start from the profile of our Earth. Its equatorial diameter is 12,756 kilometer. 12,756 kilometer is equatorial diameter, means the diameter measured at the equator, and the polar diameter is 12,714 kilometer. So we can easily observe that there is not very much difference between these two diameters. So Earth is approximately spherical shape. The eccentricity is very small. I will show the value of eccentricity also. So almost spherical shape. The mass of our Earth is 5.97 into 10 to the power 24 kilogram. Earth has only one satellite, only one moon. The orbital distance from our Earth to the Sun is given by the average orbital distance is given by one astronomical unit, having the value written here. And the orbital period means complete revolution of Earth around the Sun takes 365.24 days, known as a year on our Earth. Its surface temperature varies from -88 to 58 degrees centigrade. Minimum is -88 degree and maximum is around 58 degrees. Okay. The eccentricity is very small, as we have already discussed the ratio between equatorial diameter and polar diameter, which shows it is almost spherical in shape. Its main density is good enough, 5.514 gram per centimeter cube. The surface gravity of Earth is, we all know, 9.8 meter per second square. So these are some fundamental profile values related with our Earth. Let us start to know some fundamental facts related with our Earth. Earth is the third planet from the Sun and largest of the terrestrial planets. Terrestrials means solid planets, rocky structure having planets. So there are only four terrestrial planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars. And the Earth is the largest of all these four terrestrial planets of our solar system. While it is only the fifth largest planet in terms of size and mass, it is the densest of all the planets. Its density is the highest among all the planets. Earth was formed somewhere around 4.54 billion years ago and is currently the only known planet to support life and lots of other things. The Earth was once believed to be the center of the universe. The geocentric theory around 2000 years ago assumed that the earth is the center of the universe, and it's very important line here is that is currently, our earth is currently the only known planet to support life. Okay, so we are in search of other planets, but we should save our earth first. We should not destroy the nature, the atmosphere of our earth. The gravity between the earth and the moon causes the tides on earth. The rotation of earth is gradually slowing down. Its rotation is gradually slowing down, but the rate of slowing down is very small. It will take million of years to get time length of our day to become 25 hours. It will take million of years. So the rate of rotation is very small. Earth's atmosphere is composed of 78% nitrogen, 21% approximately 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and trace amounts of other gases including argon and carbon dioxide. The large amount of oxygen on Earth comes from our plant life's consumption of carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. The Earth has an ozone layer which protects it from harmful solar radiation, basically from the ultraviolet rays of the solar radiation. Earth has a very powerful magnetic field known as the geomagnetic field. Geomagnetism studies about the geomagnetic field. This field protects the planet from the effects of solar winds and is believed to be the result of nickel iron core of the planet combined with its rapid rotation. It is due to the rapid rotation of nickel iron at the core of the earth. Okay, molten state of the nickel iron at the core. 70% of the earth's surface is covered by water. The first life on earth developed in the oceans through a process called abiogenesis. Abiogenesis means the creation of life from chemical elements, not from the living organisms. Earth has one of the most circular orbits of all the 8 planets. We have already discussed about the circular orbit. Okay. Only 3% water of Earth is fresh. So it's very important to know that only 3% water of Earth is fresh. Rest 97% is saline, is salted. Of that 3%, over 2% is frozen in ice sheets and glaciers. Means less than 1% fresh water is found in lakes, rivers and underground. Of the total water availability, only less than 1% fresh water is available for our drinking purpose. Okay. The most abundant element in the Earth's crust is the oxygen, making up around 46.6% of Earth's mass. Silicon is the second most abundant element, followed by aluminium, iron, calcium, sodium, potassium. Okay, so the most abundant element on the Earth's crust is oxygen. It's very important for the general knowledge point. A total lunar eclipse takes place when the Earth comes between the Sun and the Moon and covers the Moon with its shadow. The Earth is made up of 4 main layers. I am telling about only 4 main layers from the inner core, beginning with the planet's inner core, which is enveloped by the outer core, then the mantle, and finally the crust. So I will show the picture. This picture here is showing total 6 layers, but only 4 are the main layers: the inner core, the outer core, then asthenosphere, just envelope of the outer core, and outer side, the outer layer enveloping the asthenosphere is known as the lithosphere, and the outermost or surface of the earth is known as the crust. Okay, so these are 6 layers shown here, but basically the 4 layers are known as the main layers: the crust, mantle, inner core, and outer core. Okay, this picture I have taken from the website shown here. Now let us move towards the earth atmosphere. The atmosphere of the earth is the layer of gases commonly known as air that surrounds the planet earth and is retained by earth's gravity. Okay, so atmosphere is retained by earth's gravity. Where there is no gravity or very small gravity, there is no atmosphere. For example, our moon contains no atmosphere. The atmosphere surrounds our planet, keeps us warm, gives us oxygen to breathe, and it is where our weather happens. So basically, due to this atmosphere only, there is life on our earth. The study of Earth's atmosphere and its processes is called atmospheric science or aerology. The dry air is composed of approximately 78% nitrogen and 21% oxygen. Argon, carbon dioxide and many other gases are also present in much lower amounts. Each makes up less than 1% of the atmosphere's mixture of gases. There are also water vapors. The amount of water vapors present varies a lot, but on average it is around less than 1%. There are also many small particles which scientists call aerosols. Include dust, spores and pollen, salt from sea spray, volcanic ash, smoke and more. These are basically counted to understand the level of pollution in Earth atmosphere. So basically aerosols are dust and smoke kind of particles in Earth atmosphere. The atmosphere grows thinner as one moves upward from Earth's surface. Okay, the density of atmosphere goes below, and also the pressure as we move upwards the surface. Air becomes so thin at altitude between 100 and 120 km. Of that, for many purposes, that range of heights can be considered the boundary between the atmosphere and the space. So around 100 and 120 km, the atmosphere is supposed to end for the practical purpose. Layers of Earth atmosphere are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and the last layer, the outermost layer, is exosphere. So basically, we can remember the names. The troposphere is the lowest most layer, then the stratosphere. The middle layer is mesosphere. Meso means middle. Thermosphere is above the mesosphere, and the outermost layer of the atmosphere is exosphere. Exo means outer. So we'll discuss. Basically, this picture shows the positions of different layers. This is our Earth, and the touching the surface of the Earth is troposphere. Troposphere. Tropos means change. So the weather change occur here in this layer only, and the outer layer of the troposphere is stratosphere, then the mesosphere, the middle one, then thermosphere. Actually ionosphere is part of the thermosphere, and the outermost layer is exosphere, and then there is no atmosphere of our Earth. Okay, so this picture is showing the position of different layers of our Earth. Now we will discuss one by one all the atmospheric layers are concerned. The troposphere is the closest to the surface of Earth. Okay. Propose means change. This layer gets its name from the weather that is constantly changing and mixing up the gases in this part of our atmosphere. Its upper boundary being the tropopause. Tropopause is the pause of the troposphere, yani, means the boundary of the troposphere. About 10 to 18 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The boundary of troposphere is supposed to somewhere it is around 10 kilometers and some other places around up to 17-18 kilometers due to the weather conditions observed. The troposphere is characterized by decreasing temperature with height. So in troposphere, as we move upwards, the temperature decreases. Most of the clouds and weather systems are contained within the troposphere. The troposphere contains 3/4 of the mass of the entire atmosphere. So it is the most massive layer of the Earth atmosphere. The troposphere is mostly heated through energy transfer from the surface due to the greenhouse effect. It is heated and that keeps our Earth warm. Thus, the lowest part of the troposphere is typically the warmest section of the troposphere. Then the next layer is stratosphere. Layer of Earth atmosphere lying between the troposphere and the mesosphere. The lower portion of the stratosphere is nearly isothermal, whereas temperature in its upper levels increase with altitude. So it has almost the constant temperature. That's why stratosphere is almost isothermal layer. There is a little variation in its temperature at the outer level, upper levels. The stratosphere extends from to its surface boundary stratopause at about 50 km, and it also contains the ozone layer. Okay, so probably I have made a mistake here, not completed the sentence. The stratosphere extends from the tropopause, the lower boundary, and the stratopause, the upper boundary. It starts from the tropopause and ends at stratopause. Stratopause means the pause of the stratosphere. So the layer moves from 12 kilometer up to 50 kilometers from the Earth's surface. And the ozone layer is a part of the stratosphere. The stratosphere is almost completely free of clouds and other forms of weather. Almost free. There are some traces of clouds, but not the rain clouds. Then the important ozone layer, a region of Earth's stratosphere that absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation, is known as the ozone layer. It contains high concentration of ozone, O3, in relation to other parts of the atmosphere. The content of the ozone is highest in this layer. The ozone layer is mainly found in the lower portion of the stratosphere from approximately 15 to 35 kilometers above Earth. In 1976, atmospheric research revealed that the ozone layer was being depleted by chemicals released by industry, mainly chlorofluorocarbons, also released from the ACs and fridges used in our home. So the chlorofluorocarbons are very harmful for our important ozone layer. Concerns that increased ultraviolet radiation due to ozone depletion threaten life on Earth, including increased skin cancer in humans and other ecological problems too. Okay, so if there is a depletion in ozone layer, there is hole in ozone layer, then ultraviolet rays can come to the Earth and it can cause cancer to our body, and also it can also destroy several important living organisms on our earth. Then the middle layer is the mesosphere. Meso means middle. It extends from the stratopause at an altitude of about 50 km to the mesopause at 80 to 85 km above sea level. So its extension is 50 km to 85 km. Temperatures drop with increasing altitude to the mesopause that marks the top of this middle layer of the atmosphere. So again the temperature increasing. Here the temperature increasing. In troposphere the temperature was decreasing, and in stratosphere temperature was almost constant. Okay, so we should also remember the temperature profile of different atmospheric layer. It is the coldest place on earth and has an average temperature around minus 85 degrees centigrade. The mesosphere is also the layer where most meteors burn up upon atmospheric entrance. I have already told in my earlier video lecture on meteors that they burn up in the mesosphere of Earth atmosphere. The next layer is thermosphere. It extends from the mesopause at an altitude of about 80 km up to the thermopause at an altitude range of 500 to 1000 kilometers. So it is a very wide layer of Earth atmosphere starting from 80 km above the sea level, and it can go up to 1000 km above the sea level. The lower part of the thermosphere from 80 to 50 km above Earth's surface contains the ionosphere. The temperature of the thermosphere gradually increases with height as high as 1500 degrees centigrade. The temperature is very high in this layer, that's why this layer is known as thermosphere. The temperature is very high in this layer. Although the thermosphere has a high proportion of molecules with high energy, it would not feel hot to a human in direct contact because its density is too low to conduct a significant amount of energy to or from the skin. Okay, so the density is so small in this layer that it is not feel very hot to our body. The International Space Station orbits in this layer between 350 and 420 kilometers. So our International Space Station orbits in this layer only, the thermosphere layer only. This is the temperature profile of different important atmospheric layers. In troposphere, temperature decreases with height. In stratosphere, almost constant, but there is a small increase at the upper level of the stratosphere. Then in mesosphere, temperature decreases, and after mesopause there is again a small decrease in temperature, but then sudden increase in the temperature up to very high temperature. I have shown here up to 550 degrees centigrade, but it can go beyond 1500 degrees centigrade. So this is the temperature profile with the altitude, with the height of the different atmospheric layers. Okay, this graph I have taken from the website here. Then the important part of the thermosphere is ionosphere, which is very important for our communication system on Earth. The ionosphere is the ionized part of Earth's upper atmosphere. That's why its name is ionosphere, because it is the ionized part of Earth's atmosphere. From about 60 km to 1000 km altitude, a region that includes the thermosphere and parts of the mesosphere and exosphere too. Okay, so basically it is a part of the atmosphere but had a very little overlap with the mesosphere and the exosphere. Okay, so ionosphere basically contains in the thermosphere. The ionosphere is ionized by solar radiation. Ionization occurs due to the solar energy, solar radiation. It has practical importance because it influences radio propagation to distant places on the Earth, basically our communication system. The region below the ionosphere is known as the neutrosphere because there are very small or almost no ions. Within the ionosphere, there are several different ionospheric regions or layers which affect the propagation of the radio signals in different ways. The D layer, E layer, F layer, and F layer again splits into F1 and F2 layers. All affect radio signals differently. There is also a C region below the D layers, but the level of ionization is so low that it doesn't have any effect on our radio signals and radio communication system, and therefore it is rarely mentioned. So there is one more layer, C layer, but has no major role in communication system, therefore not very important. So this picture shows the different layers of ionosphere and their role in reflecting the signals, radio signals. So we can see here the D layer has almost no reflection of the signal, while E layers F1 and F2 reflects the radio signals. But if the radio signals are of very high energy or very high frequency, they can even escape to the space. They can never reflect to the Earth. Okay. So this picture shows the importance of different ionospheric layers. Let us now discuss different layers separately. The D layer is the innermost layer, 60 km to 90 km above the surface of the Earth. Ionization here is due to the Lyman series, alpha hydrogen radiation, Lyman-Balmer-Paschen bracket formed. We know hydrogen spectral series. So basically ionization here is due to the Lyman series, alpha hydrogen radiation at wavelength of just 121.6 nanometer, and the ionization of nitric oxide happens here. In addition, high solar activity can generate hard X-rays that ionize nitrogen and oxygen too. Okay, so if the solar radiation is very high energy, then it can create hard X-rays for the ionization of nitrogen and oxygen. Recombination rates are high in the D layer, so there are many more neutral air molecules than ions. Medium frequency and lower high frequency radio waves are significantly attenuated within the D layer. So basically the role of D layer is the attenuation, the lowering the velocity or energy of the radio waves, not exactly reflecting the radio waves, but lowering the frequency of the radio waves, or absorbing the attenuation means absorbing the radio waves, radio signals. Okay. Then the important E layer. The E layer is the middle layer, 90 km to 150 km above the surface of the Earth. Ionization is due to soft X-ray of up to 10 nanometer, and for ultraviolet solar radiation, ionization of molecular oxygen happens here. So in this layer, ionization of molecular oxygen, O2, occurs here. Normally at oblique incidence, this layer can only reflect radio waves having frequency lower than 10 MHz and may contribute a bit to absorption on frequencies above. So the reflection of the frequency up to 10 MHz happens here. It reflects up to 10 MHz frequency of radio waves, and higher frequencies are almost absorbed in this layer. This region is also known as the Kennelly heaviside layer or simply the heaviside layer due to the discoverer of this layer. Kennelly heaviside and Kennelly discovered. They were two scientists discovered this layer on Earth atmosphere first. So, in respect, in honor to them, this layer is also known as heaviside layer. Then the outermost layer for the ionization is F layer. F layer or region also known as the Appleton-Barnett layer of discoverer of this layer extends from about 150 km to more than 500 km above the surface of the earth. So its extension is from 150 km. It is the layer with the highest electron density. It's very important. This layer has the highest electron density, which implies signals penetrating this layer will escape into space. So if a signal penetrates this layer, F layer, then it will never reflect it back and it will go into the space for infinity. Electron production is dominated by extreme ultraviolet radiation ionizing atomic oxygen. It's important, the ionization of atomic oxygen is here and that produces the electron in this layer. The F layer consists of one layer F2 at night. So during night there is only one layer F2, but during the day a secondary peak labeled as F1 often forms in the electron density profile. So during the day F layer is divided into two layers F1 and F2. Because the F2 layer remains by day and night, it is responsible for most skywave propagation of radio waves and long distance high frequency radio communications. So it is the most important layer for our radio communication system, the F2 layer, because it is always there in the atmosphere. In preparing this lecture, I have taken the contents from these websites. So, and I have also taken the images from various sources. I have already shown their sources with the images. Thank you very much, and I will cover up to this much in this lecture, and the remaining part of our atmosphere or Earth's related science will be in my next video. Thank you again.